हरि करना।
So, in our previous slides or videos, we have seen agile principles, agile methodology, and stages inside the agile. And we have discussed the advantages of agile and terminology of agile. So, now it's time to put agile principles into the practice. But how do you do? That's my question. How do you put agile principles into the action? For that we require some frameworks. If you want to use the agile principles and to apply it into your project, you need some frameworks. So basically we are going to discuss about those frameworks in this session, that is Scrum, Kanban, and ITL. So those are the frameworks we are going to discuss, and we'll begin with Scrum. So Agile, I call it as a Agile Scrum framework. So Scrum framework, Ken Squaber and Jeff Sutherland created the Scrum approach, which provides a basic framework for working on big projects, fundamentally big projects. Agile software development approaches are iterative, which means the work is divided into iterations or sprints in Scrum's instance. Now we have come into the terminology of Scrum, that's called sprint. The every shortest cycle that we have said in agile methodology in our previous sessions are known as sprints in Scrum framework. So uh, Scrum is carried out by small groups of 7 to 9 persons who include a Scrum master and a product owner. So now let's look into the various roles in a Scrum. The Scrum team consists of three roles: a product owner, the development team, and a Scrum master. So let's talk about the product owner first. Owner of the product, what he does, who is he, what are his roles. So the main work of a product owner is creating an organizational vision. It is a representation of the business and marks the return on investment. And a product owner passes on the vision to the teams that are involved in that project, who are basically following the Agile Scrum framework. And the most important aspect of important responsibility of uh, a product owner is he the who takes the ownership of the backlog. What is backlog? We will look into that soon. And it makes market needs a priority. So it is the decision maker for the teams. He is the decision maker for the team. He the one who mediates between the team and the customers to deliver the ultimate deliverables as per needs and on a timely basis. So the second one that we have is developer, the team for development. So here this team works completely a different way than compared to any other methodology that you have seen or I have seen. So it consists of a self-managed team. The team is self-managed, which does mean and the decision on the work front is taken mutually, and it is independent. The team is empowered to take its own decisions. This looks completely different from an orthodox project management uh, so-called framework. It's completely different than that. That's the reason it makes a huge difference in project success. Then we have uh, no designation. That means the team does not have any specific designation, and each member has the necessary skills to deliver the required work. And the final one is small teams. The development teams are ideally small sized with 5 to 9 members. And the last role, important role in a Scrum, is Scrum Master. So, who is Scrum Master? Scrum Master is a leader, coaches the teams on various aspects of Scrum Basic, guides Scrum Basic, and he the one who guides them on how to proceed on work front, and hence reaps the advantages of the Scrum. And a Scrum Master is the one who eliminates the obstacles. He helps the development teams in removing all the obstacles on the path of progress and help them evolve. And Scrum Master is the one who identifies ways to collaborate, facilitates the team with everything it needs to be able to deliver the ultimate product. And Scrum Master is the one who helps teams stay secure, ensures that no external factor can influence the team in any way. It seems Scrum Master has all the authority to do a lot of things. No, not at all. A big no. Scrum Master, he has his limitations. He takes care of lot of things, but there is no specific authoritative rhythmic uh, structure in Scrum. So everybody has to do their work. It's a flat organizational structural framework that has been built. That is a Scrum. Okay, nice. So now let's move on to the various artifacts of the Scrum. So documentation is the one which is used for the progress in work and not collaboration. So working software always measures this progress. Documentation in Scrum is only through four main artifacts, namely product backlog, or call it as a backlog of the product that we have just discussed. I have told you that we will discuss later. The documentation in Scrum is only through four main artifacts that I told you. That's the product backlog is the first one, and then sprint backlog, and increment and definition of then. These are the four important artifacts that we find in Scrum. So, what is product backlog? So, product backlog lists all the requirements needed to deliver products, basically a quality product, and it evolves as per the market needs. It is updated continuously. I think you're getting my point. A product backlog, if the customer comes up with a new requirements, then those requirements should also be added in product backlog. That's why I say product backlog evolves as per the market needs. It should be updated continuously. Fantastic. So now what is next? That's a backlog of the sprint. So a subset of the product backlog items and is meant to be finished off in one sprint. These are called backlog of the sprint. If you want to put it in a much simpler way, you have 10 backlogs of the product, out of which you will have your first sprint for this next 2 weeks. So out of which you take four or three backlogs, and you put it into this sprint. That means these three backlogs should be completed within these 2 weeks of this first sprint. Those are called backlog of the sprint. So items for this, items are divided into small chunks, and and focused on how to deliver work in a single sprint. Now it, and most important thing is, because of this backlog of the sprint or sprint backlog helps prioritize work as per the requirements of the customer and the final deliverable. It also helps teams to supervise the progress and ensure that goals are aligned with the project. And the third artifact that we can see is product increment. The work delivered at the end of the each sprint is called an increment. I think you got it. So out of 10 backlogs that we have, the product backlogs, out of which 3 are put into sprint 1, and after that, once once that sprint is completed, whatever backlogs, once the sprint is completed, whatever work has been delivered in that sprint, after that sprint is called as an increment. At the end of each iteration, we get a product increment, PI, that promises to deliver value, and in the end, so we get our required product. So now the last artifact is what is done. What is done? So definition of done in a scrum means that it helps teams specify a work as done. This is how teams can estimate the extent to which the work has been completed. So once, if you go through the sequential from the product backlog to the sprint backlog, then it will become a product increment. Once after testing everything done, then it will comes under the done label. Done label. So in scrum, for done has a specific definition. So if it meets that requirements of done definition, your product, whatever the feature, that backlog that you want to build, that you want to deploy, that you want to complete it in that scrum, in that sprint, has been done. So now we will move into the different activities that these employees do in scrums. So activities in scrum. So scrum activities are performed in iterations and allow time for preparation as well as putting all the learnings into use. Scrum activities include product backlog refinement, sprint planning, daily scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. I think most of you might have heard these words, sprint, daily scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective, all those things, though you are not part of the IT team or you have never worked out. But these are very famous word. If you open YouTube or if you go to the Facebook, everywhere you'll find scrum training for within 10 days, 15 days. So these are most famous words that you might have heard. So let's decode these words. So the first one, the first activity that done by many of the employees who work, or that's the refinement of product backlog. What does it mean? It eliminates product backlog items that are not a priority anymore. That's the important. So you got the backlog of the product and a refinement whatever the product backlog you have. If it is not if it is not a priority, you could remove it. It includes the product backlog items that are not a priority anymore, and divides product backlog items into chunks based on priority, non-prioritized, medium prioritized. So based on that, and then we have a sprint planning, or we call it as a planning a sprint. We plan a sprint. So negotiates planning a sprint means it negotiates a product backlog items in the presence of the product owner. You have a product owner. Here you can see roles in a scrum. You have product owner, developer team, and then scrum master. This product owner, he negotiates out of the product backlog. Here you can see the product backlog. This product backlog or backlog of the product consists of the backlogs or list of all the requirements to be applied or to be done. So now, out of which a product owner negotiates and comes up with a few of the requirements, few of the requirements from the backlog, so that you can work on this sprint. That's called a sprint planning. So it enables a mature understanding of the work process, completes smaller items on a priority basis. Work is properly planned and completed. So now the most important thing that they discuss, the most important aspect of sprint planning is what is work to be done, what work is to be done, and how should that work to be identified. So these are the two things are important in sprint planning. And after that, what we have is a daily meeting of a scrum, or daily scrum. In a simple, in a shortest and sweetest way, we call a daily scrum meeting. Okay, so the daily scrum is a kind of meeting that is held every morning for a maximum of 15 minutes. This is also known as the daily stand-up meeting. So basically, this daily scrum is very famous with the name called stand-up, daily stand-up meeting. I'm not talking about stand-up comedy. So I'm talking about daily stand-up meeting. This is very important meeting. So it includes what was my contribution at work yesterday. So basically, in daily stand-up meeting or daily scrum meeting, what we discuss is we'll have all daily scrum master will be there, developer team, everybody will be there, and we'll convey that these are the things yesterday I have done, and today I'm gonna do this, and uh, or there have I faced any issues yesterday, or I'm gonna facing any challenges today. All those things are going to be discussed well within the team in front of the scrum master. Basically, scrum master is the one makes all these arrangements. He makes sure of conducting daily scrums, and he makes sure of everybody's attending and all process is going seamlessly. Okay, so then activity then what's next is a review of the sprint, or sprint review. So it is a sprint review. It's like a feedback of the product that allows us to uh, uh, know what's happening and what kind of deliverables have done till now. That's what it's a sprint review. So we have decided some backlogs out of the product backlog artifact. We want to do it in a sprint one. So now after the sprint review is the one maybe which we will have after 2 weeks, or after 2 weeks. Let's take an example. So in that case, we will discuss till now how much we have achieved, what we wanted to do. That's what we will discuss in sprint review. It's a proper illustration of the work process with an explanation of the features of the product. So basically, in sprint review, a meeting is called upon by the scrum master that is attended by the teams involved and all the stakeholders to discuss the product developed and the work process followed. That's our sprint review. Then the last activity, of course, it's not last. still. It's a sprint scrum analysis. It's a sprint retrospective scrum analysis. So what we do here, here the team review and inquire on what went well in terms of collaboration, planning, process, and tools. They find out the lacuna and help improve the process and the competency of the team members involved. So during it's a retrospective thing, like, but it's specific to sprint. It's not to the overall project. It's very specific to the sprint. Now in this, the plan and take firm stance on how to proceed from one sprint to another sprint. The team ensures that the entire work cycle till delivery is improvised upon each time. And the most important questions every team member needs to answer during the sprint retrospective uh, meeting or analysis is what we need to start doing, and what we need to stop doing, and what do we need to maintain doing. These are the questions they have to answer during the sprint reviews for the better working and better collaboration in in process planning and tools. So before we jump into the scrum board, before we jump into the scrum board and exploring the scrum board, I just want to emphasize a few points regarding the scrum framework. Scrum emphasizes teamwork, which influences team members to address complex problems and deliver the products with the highest possible value. Like, we'll take an example. We'll take the chronology. We'll take the example, a comparison with a rugby. Okay, like a rugby team, Scrum instigates the team to learn through the experiences and become self-organized when dealing with the problems, and improvement through through reflecting on wins and losses. Generally, it's a framework for handling a project which focuses on teamwork, accountability, iterative progress towards achieving a well defined common goal as a team, collaboratively. So, but the issue is, Scrum is often assumed to be part of the Agile software development process, because the Scrum concept revolves around continuous improvement, which is a primary principle of Agile. The framework begins with a simple acknowledgement that the team does not know about the details of every nook and corner of the project at the outset. Rather, it's experienced by adapting to the changing conditions and user requirements. Of course, Scrum is the most widely used framework in putting agile principles into act or action, or a Scrum board is widely used in for the agile, or in agile methodology. So then what is a scrum board? So projects in Scrum are broken into sprints that we have discussed, which are typically 2 or 3 weeks long. A sprint consists of a set of features that must be produced within a certain amount of time. So, multiple sprints may be merged to make a release, which is the formal delivery of software or product to the customer or market. It's called a release in proper IT language. We call it as a release. Okay. So now, what happens here in uh, the product owner breaks down the overall product functionality into smaller pieces. That's where the product owner comes into the picture. So each sprint or iteration prioritizes and tackles these stories. We call them as user stories. User stories. The goal of the process is for the team to be able to show the product owner working bits of the product at the conclusion of each sprint to ensure that it's operating as intended. So overall, the Scrum techniques divides the long waterfall process into smaller cycles, allowing product teams and end customers to assess functioning software on a regular basis and ensure that it satisfies their business needs. This guarantees the completed product fulfills the customer's ultimate specifications. Now, if you take one example here, we have broken down all the product backlogs into different user stories, and then those product backlogs were uh, uh, attached to the different sprints. For example, let's take a sprint one has a few backlogs, and the backlogs consists of these user stories. User story one is, as a user I should log in securely, and user stories 2, as a site visitor I can compare different products in it. User story 3, as a user I should submit queries regarding the products and their benefits. These are the user stories that are available with me. Now, how how Agile Scrum Board helps us to visualize visualize the flow of the project that is going on. So, for example, we will have assignees, or the developers or testers or operation teams, that system admins or uh, product deployment persons, whoever it may be. We call them as assignees because uh, the product owner will assign the work, these user stories, to those developers or testers. So our first assignee here is Rahul. So now Rahul, each user story will consist of plenty of sub activities in it. So now in user story one might have plenty of activities. Out of that, other people from different teams might also have involved in it. So let's take Rahul. Now for Rahul, from user story 1, some of the tasks are assigned. The first one task is identify a solution. That's his first task that he has started and is presently working on it. So that's why it is in the box of in progress, and it belongs to user story 1. So the next thing is again Rahul. It is also from user story 1, and it's find an existing code. So he found an existing code. Because of that, the task is completed. Now it is put into the box of completed. Then Rahul, he was assigned with another task, but this time this is from user story 2. What is the task? It's write code. So he hasn't started that work, so that's why we put that in the bracket of to do. That's in to do. So then he has one more work assigned. One more work is being assigned from user story 2, that is design the pricing web page. He has already designed that. He's basically working on that. Sorry, that's my bad. He's working on that. So he's working on that. That's why it is in progress. Then even Rahul got assigned with a task from user story 3 also, that is designer feedback form. Designer feedback form. So it is in progress. That means he started working on it. So that's how an assignee, an individual, can be assigned with different tasks from different user stories, and they will bring they will belong to uh, different scrum, uh, different sprints, sorry. Then we have Charan. He's our tester, maybe somebody else. So for him, uh, compare a automatic testing. He's a tester. Charan is a tester. So from user story 1, compare a automatic testing, is that task is assigned to him. So he had to start that task. So that's where we put that task that belongs to Charan in to do. Then what we have, the another task that the tester Charan has is discuss a CTA. CTA, that's a click to action to include, whether we want to include it or not. So the task had to be done. So that's why we put it in to do. Then he has another task from user story 3, that is test feedback storage. So he hasn't started any of the tasks. That's why the tasks that were assigned to Charan from different user stories all are put in to do bracket. Then we have one more assignee, that is Jancy. She's a deployer. She's from ops team. So now what all tasks that are assigned to her? First one is release a fix. So uh, it's as in she hasn't started. That's why it is in to do. But update or rewrite a script, this is the another task from the user story 1. She has started it and she's presently working on that task. So that is the reason it is in progress bracket. And from user story 3, she got one more task, that is release code. That also she hasn't started. So that is where that is also in to do bracket. And one more task that has been assigned to Jancy from the user story 3, that is update or rewrite code from the user story 3. That is, she started it and she's presently working on this. So at this moment we can easily find that we have 3 assignees. Out of that we have a few tasks. And if you see Rahul, he has completed one task and then is working on 2 tasks. Identify a solution, update, rewrite, identify solution and design the pricing web page. These are the 2 tasks from 2 different user stories. And if you take Charan is working on is presently is not working on any of the tasks he had to work on. And then Jancy is presently working on 2 tasks, that is update or rewrite script from user story 1 and then user story 3. This is how you can visualize. It will give you a complete picture of which backlogs are going on, which backlogs are presently working on, and who is working on, how many tasks are being completed, how many tasks are being are going on, and then how many tasks at to be started. So that's how you get a complete picture of the project from the Scrum board. This is how it looks. After Scrum framework, we are gonna look into one more, the most popular framework that is attached with uh, Agile is Kanban framework. Agile Kanban framework. Kanban methodology or framework is incremental but not iterative agile project management framework, so which deals with the frequent deliver, visualizes workflow tightly, collaboration, continuous learning, process improvement, controls the work in progress, just in time development, and larger development cycle for a software product. It's not a software development methodology, but it is an approach or set of ideas to manage and improve the flow of work and teams or organizations to visualize their works in software development. So in this Kanban methodology, the total task or work is visualized by using cards on a board is called Kanban board that we are going to explore after this video. In next video, we are going to do. We'll explore that with an example, a practical example. So a Kanban board, it's a pictorial representation of your work. That board is visible for the whole team to check how much work to be pending, or how much in progress mode, or how much work incomplete, or who is focusing on it. That is, it's showing the status of the whole team and project. The Kanban board is updating the daily it's updating daily depending upon the status of work progress by the team. It consists of multicolored cards showing a specific task. So now, so we got the grasp on what is Kanban methodology and what is Kanban board. Now let's look into the most important principles of Kanban. The first one is visualize work, and most important thing to be remembered is this Kanban framework is not made or discovered to put it into software development life cycle. It was for the another purpose. It can be used in many industries, whereas we adopted this, and it has fitted very well with our agile methodology and with our software development process. So that's why we are following this also. So now the first principle of Kanban framework is visualize work. So what is visualization of work? It is the basic principle of Kanban methodology. Here Kanban board is used to pictorial representation of work. It provides the status of the workflow of the teams and the project. The product owner can add the task as a user stories in Kanban board, and the status of visualized workflow will updated by the team. So the second principle is limit work in progress. Limit work in progress as far as possible. In this process, we can't use multiple tasks or user story at time in progress mode. So the whole team work on and user story should be completed before choose another one. It enhances to product quality, smoothing workflow, and deliver frequently. Then the third one is pulling new work. As the Kanban method is a transparent process, so all the task or user story is placed in one place is called backlog. It's called a backlog. After completion of one user story, we choose or pull a new task from the backlog. Once it is completed or done status, what is in once it is in completed or done status, that means we can choose a new task. And the fourth principle is measure and learn. Measure and learn. So here in this principle, what we do is mostly whatever task we do uh, in this We welcomes feedback. That's what the measure and learn. We welcomes the feedbacks which are used to provide a highly expected quality product development. It always reviews on feedbacks in each stage of the workflow in Kanban board. It's imposed in early in workflow to eliminate impediments from each stage of workflow. Then we have manage the workflow. In this methodology, the Kanban board is used to manage the total workflow. Here, as a whole team involves on analysis of task, so it improves the flow of work and the task will complete before schedule time. So it provides actual status of the application. Then the sixth principle is process improvement. In process improvement, the team will work together to improve the process and product level. It emphasizes on small changes and accepts it gradually to improve process. Also, it directs to learn and apply the different technology in application to produce a best quality product for at that time for that time. And the seventh principle is working together in collaborative way. In this methodology, the business people and developers are must work together daily throughout the projects. The best architects, requirements, designers, and developers emerge from self-organized team, and that too when you work together collaboratively. Then we have deliver with new ideas. The main idea behind the Kanban approach is to improve the team quality and the process as it supports the new ideas from the teams in each phase of the workflow. And the ninth one, just in time development. The development of application based on the customer demand, that is approach of pull system, not push. In this methodology, we develop an application not to push to a client directly. It indicates what to develop, how to develop, and when to develop. It provides a good quality with new features, new feature product. And 10th one, the last one, but not the least one. So welcome to incremental change. This methodology enables incremental change at any stage of the workflow with continuous delivery of the product. It welcomes changing requirements even late in development. So these are the fundamental principles on which the foundation is laid on for the Kanban framework. Now let us see what advantages that these fundamental principles will throw on us if we use Kanban framework. So advantages of this methodology, it starts with increases the productivity of the team, and it provides a flexibility and sustainable development, and it deals with a continuous process improvement and delivery. I think the benefits, the advantages are self-explanatory. That's the reason I'm not putting effort to explain it in detail further. And the Kanban methodology eradicates the bugs from the process, increase the efficiency of deliver increases the efficiency of deliver a high quality product, and it depends upon just in time development. It limits it limits the work in progress, so enhance the output. It focuses on one task at time. It provides the status. It provides the status of project in Kanban board. It's open for all. It improves the workflow and limits the time cycle. It maintains the workflow status, collaboration on the team, and sustainable development. So, with this, we have seen the principles and we have gone through the advantages. So, now let's move on to the artifact of the Kanban framework, which makes a huge difference when you are working using Kanban framework in liaison with Agile. So, Agile Kanban board in the early to the mid 2000s, David Anderson established the Kanban method in reaction to some of the issues of the other agile methodology. So, why this agile Kanban board? Forget it, the agile Kanban board has come into the picture. Why? So, it has come into the picture because of the pitfalls of the Scrum framework. So that is the reason some of the people started working on or started exploring the some other frameworks which can be connected with our agile methodology to to use it as a visualizer. So at that time in mid early 2000s, Anderson basically has developed this Kanban board, particularly because of the pitfalls of Scrum. So and not only Scrum with other traditional and waterfall approaches also. So these methods fell victim to some of the same issues. Now the two the number two, I'm saying number 2 to 3 weeks sprint cycle was too long for many business contexts, and the associated changes in organizational structure and project management or planning processes put firms under too much of strain, and many teams found themselves failing to meet even sprint level scope and quality commitments, and implementing these strategies was quite disruptive for most firms. So because of these pitfalls, because of these cons, the Kanban board has come into existence. The Kanban method was designed as the polar, complete opposite of that a non-disruptive evolutionary method for improvement that allows teams to deliver continuously rather than in time frames of number 2 to 3 weeks, receive feedback faster and shorten the time it takes to offer value to customers. Now Kanban is a visual management more than anything else. It's a visual management approach for tracking work as it progresses through a process. So let's take an example here, a real life example. Okay, we have our assignees from dev team, and some of the tasks which are attached to the dev team, they have to complete that. These are all in our backlog. That's a find a existing code, identify a solution, write code, design the pricing web page. So these are all the tasks should be completed from the dev team, but at this moment these are all in backlog. Then we have testers team. Testers were also assigned with some tasks, that is compare automatic testing, test feedback storage. Then we have deployers, that is from ops team. So again they have attached with some backlogs, that is a release fix and update or rewrite script. So these are all the tasks which are exist in our backlog. These are all tasks which are present in our backlog. So now how to proceed further? In Kanban board, we will prioritize, each team will prioritize the tasks, and whichever has the higher priority, that should be done. Once it is done, then they can go for the next task. This is how the whole tasks will be flow one by one. So for example, the high priority level is find an existing code that should be done by the dev teams. Once that is done, that task will move into the task will move into the in progress. And then once this activity, the priority section is empty, then another task will come. And then once that is also done, from other teams you put different other tasks in priority. And once you complete, once it completes, another new task will come into the priority. So this is how each and every task will be put into priority first. And so basically it makes sure that the activity whichever is in priority basis will be completed. That's what the that's all the pitfall with the uh, scrum board. In scrum board we just monitor the things, but we are not making sure that it has to be completed. Here the kanban methodology makes sure that you select the priority tasks, you finish it. Once it is moved from priority section to in progress, then only another task can come there. That means we are literally making sure that the tasks has to be completed, has to be finished. Like that, each team has to prioritize their task, and once the priority moves into the in progress, then another task can come into the priority section. That's how once the task in progress is completed completely, then it will move into the done section. That's how they make sure that each task uh, is completed. So now we have seen Agile, we have seen Scrum framework and Kanban framework in liaison with Agile. So now let's see what is the exact difference with one paragraph. So if you see, a Scrum board is a task board tracking work in sprints. That's it. So Scrum board is a task board, whereas a Kanban board is a tracking the process flow. One is tracking the process flow, other one is tracking the task. Basically, who is doing the task? That's more important in Scrum board, whereas Kanban, whether the task is getting completed or not. That's what the Kanban is doing. It's making sure that the task is getting completed. Whereas Scrum board, it's just a task board. It's a tracking board. We just want to see, visualize what's happening across, who is doing what all are assigned to whom. That's it. And what's the status of it? That's it. That's it. That's what we are going. That's what we are looking at. Scrum board. So, for example, in Scrum board, a sprint is a short, consistent, and repetitive period of time. In Scrum framework, the length of the sprint is short enough to keep the team focused on, but long enough to deliver shippable increment of work. So, Scrum is like a school test. You have to complete a set of backlog items in a certain period of time. So creating a Scrum board is like studying for the test. It's a sprint planning tool that allows you to identify what needs to be done and organize your team and schedule. Whereas Kanban, Kanban, it's a process flow while maintaining the number of works in progress activities. So the number of work in progress is small enough to avoid unworthy tasks, but big enough to reduce idle personnel. So Kanban is like a basketball match where completed task equals 1 point and the team is trying to minimize the time between shots. So that's how the difference between Scrum and Kanban makes a huge impact in selecting a methodology also. But moreover, both has advantages, both has disadvantages. So that's why in IT our people are much too smarter. So they club the advantages of both, and we are using Scrum Bun. That's the framework we are using. We are using both. Basically, Kanban is also useful. That visualization tool is very much useful, and Scrum methodology, Scrum framework is also useful. That's why we use fundamentals of Scrum like sprint and everything, and we use the visualization tool of the Kanban, and we put it together, and we make it a Scrum bun. Nice to hear. Fantastic, na? We are too smart. Brilliant. So now what will we do is, let's put all the theory into practice, because now basically we will be working on healthious web application. We have our customer. I'm explaining it to our client, so I will put all this theory, and 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 I will compare the waterfall. I'll compare the waterfall method as well as the agile method, and how do we go ahead with these methods, and what is the process that needed to be followed for the both methods. And it is all up to you to decide. It's all Jancy, it is all up to you to decide which methodology you want to go. So but let me explain both the methodology in in using your healthious web app as an example. So if you take a waterfall method for your app, so the following. Anyway, waterfall method, it's similar to our software development life cycle. We'll begin with requirements. We will come to you, Jancy, and we will ask you what all requirements you have, what are functionality, what all features that you're expecting from your app, that the customers can enjoy. So that we will do, and after that we will design user interface, user experience, and many other parts. And then we will move on to development phase. From the development phase, once development is done, we will go for the verification and testing, and then we will deploy it, and we will not let you go. Even after that, we will travel with you for more days. We will maintain, we will support it, we will make sure of everything, closure and support. So these are the phases that we follow in waterfall. For that, it will take, maybe, let's consider one of the phase, that's a development phase. Let's take a development phase. In development phase, for example, these are the following are the product features that you are expecting. One is welcome page in your application. Then you are expecting login page. Initially, as somebody hits that URL, the welcome page should be exposed, and then uh, and then there should be a login button so that you can log into that. Once you log in into that, you should find a dashboard. Then once dashboard, along with the dashboard, you should have a gallery of all our products, not our products, that's your products, that's healthious company's product. And then the complete list of products, and price plus discounts component that also we will have, and user notifications, and customer support specifically will put it, and then feedback form, and basically chat. We'll use a chat bot and cart. So these are the product features that you're expecting, and the final one is payment gateways chatbot. So total 11 product features that you are expecting. So what will we do is, in development stage, we will take up all this 11, and we will begin with welcome page, and we'll do it one by one. Only for development phase for us, it will take 4 months only for development phase. I'm not talking about the complete project, like uh, from the requirements gathering till closure and support. That's the complete closure of the project. I'm not talking about that. Only for the development phase it takes 4 months, because we are going to work on in a sequential way, in a waterfall way, from welcome page, login page, dashboard, gallery, and everything. Once we build it everything, then we will go for the testing. So now what happens in testing? If there is a bug, if you find any bug, so then it is very difficult to find out from which module, from which feature this bug has come, because you have built a huge application, you have plenty of features, and it takes huge amount of hell amount of time to find out the bug exactly. That's what happens. That's some of the negative side of the waterfall. In addition to that, now if you look into the same project, if you do the same project with agile methodology, how it works. Let's take up this project in agile methodology. So in that agile methodology, everything is in sprints or iterations or lists. What we do is, whatever activity that we have, all from requirements to closure, this is one cycle. So each cycle we will do it as an iteration or sprint. Let me show you what it is. For example, if you take, we have how many features we have 12. We have 12 features here. So out of 12 features, we are going to select four features. That's a welcome page, dashboard, login, gallery. So in each case, for these four features, we will initially gather the requirements about these four features. Then we will design the user interface and then user experience for these four features. Then we will develop these only four features. Then we will do the verification and testing for only these four features. Then we will deploy it, and we'll do the maintenance for these four features, and closure and support for these four features. Literally, within 2 or 4 weeks, the customer can see his first application in air, the first application on his web, the first application his users can see. That's fast it is. He can feel the fun, he can feel his product. That's what the difference. Whereas in waterfall, it takes 4 months. Not it's 4 months is for development. It takes more than 6 to 8 months to get the first feel of their application. Whereas in agile, he feels it within 2 to 4 weeks. That's where the confidence gets built up for the client itself. He enjoys the thing, because he could potentially see some of the features are being developed and deployed and exposed to the external world. So now these initial four requirements as being fulfilled, then the cycle will be repeated. Now again the product owner will get back to the customer. He will ask for the more requirements. Now we have gathered list of products, user notifications, price plus discounts, and then customer supports. Now we will put this all requirements into the design phase, then we'll put it into development phase, then we'll put it into verification and the testing phase, then we'll put it into deployment and maintenance, and then we'll close it, and the customer can see that application literally in air. So that's how. Now we have done how many? Four plus 4 features in 2 sprints. So 4 more features we have, that features can we can finish it in sprint 3. So like this we dissect our features into different sprints. So in this methodology, at any time client can come up with the new requirements. That requirements can be handled in another sprint. That's how that's how it's a beneficial. That's how it makes a huge difference, and that's how it fastly delivers our project, releases our application. So thus far, we have seen a waterfall method, agile methodology, but there is a one most important thing yet to be discussed. So this either waterfall or agile methodology is specific to the developers or development team, whereas you require another framework under which operations team work. So that is our ITIL. So ITIL is a set of well defined guidelines that helps software professionals to deliver the best IT services. ITIL guidelines are the best practices that are observed, gathered, and put together over time for delivering quality IT services. The full form of ITIL is Information Technology Infrastructure Library. Information Technology Infrastructure Library. This is the framework which is used by the operations team in every company. So popular IT services are covered by ITIL, are cloud services that everybody knew, either it may be AWS or Google Cloud Platform or IBM or Microsoft Azure or Tencent or Alibaba, whatever it may be. And backup, network security, data processing and storage, managed print services, IT consulting, and help desk support. Help desk support, everybody might have known about this, though you did not work in IT companies. Still you would have found this IT help desk support in each and every company, irrespective of the domain which is working under or taking the projects. And one more thing, the last thing is IoT, that's Internet of Things. So the systematic and structured approach of ITIL framework helps an organization in managing risk, establishing cost effective practices, strengthening customer relations. All these eventually result in building a stable IT environment for your business. So, now what is important for us is ITIL and OM. That's what is important for us at this moment. So ITIL consists of a lot of frameworks in it, out of which we as an operations team, which framework we follow. That is ITILOM, ITIL operations management. So what is this? IT operations management is one of the main functions of the service operation module of ITIL framework. It is so ITIL framework, we have just discussed what it is, and it consists of many functions, out of which ITIL OM, that's operations management, managing the operations, is one of the main function that is used heavily by our IT companies. So the function is responsible for managing capacity, performance, and availability of all components used in the organization's IT infrastructure. Now, the ITIL IT operations management is also responsible for maintaining all the technology, infrastructure components, and as well as looks after all the aspects of basically they looks after all the aspects of application such as service, storage, networking, and connectivity, elements that are used in the day to day operations of an organization. So according to ITIL version 3, operations management function describes the following approaches that need to be followed in order to ensure the consistency, reliability, and quality of service. These are very important for ITIL. And because of that, because of this stability, because of this stable quality of ITIL, that is the reason all companies operations team follow ITIL, because they fundamentally thrive on consistency, reliability, and quality of service. Now, what is the objective? What's the ITIL, IT operations management, that ITOM function objective? According to this ITIL version 3, there are different versions of this framework. As per the ITIL version 3, the primary objective of ITIL, IT operation management, is to monitor and control the IT infrastructure and services. That's it. That's it. That's what our operations team do or does. So ITIL operations management carries out day-to-day tasks related to the management of the infrastructure, components, and services according to the standards defined by the service design process. Then we will move on to what are the goals of ITIL operations management. The main fundamental goal of ITOM is to increase the stability of the operations, IT operations. So it tries to reduce the requirement of infrastructure changes. That's the main point, which helps to maintain the status quo and minimize service disruption. And the second one that we have is continually improve the service. So it tried to improve the IT infrastructure service quality by placing necessary change requirements. And then the third one, the most important goal, is issue diagnosis and resolution. So within its day-to-day activity, it helps to detect and provides quick resolution to the service failures. To do this, the IT operations management, that's what ITOM, has to maintain a solid coordination with service desk, technical management, application management, incident management. So there will be a collaborative work is going to work on in ITOM. Now let's see what are different roles that are present inside that. Then we will look into the ITOM and what tasks they do every day. So the two major roles responsible for managing the IT operations management function are: ITOM is a function of ITIL. Okay. First one is IT operations manager, that you can clearly see on your screen. This role is responsible for managing event management process and IT operations control function. And the second one that we have is a facilities manager. So this in facilities manager, this guy fundamentally takes care of this role heads the facilities management function. If you take examples, like, we hope that so if you take one example, uh, whatever arrangements that to be made to the complete operations, all these things he will make sure. That's what the facilities management function. So then we will look into the IT operations management in depth. Let's get into it. Then what we have is, this is the picture you can see on screen. So it consists of IT operations control that we have seen, that console management, job scheduling, and backup and restore, print and output. So what happens here? This is the subfunction of ITOM. It controls the monitoring and execution of the routine day-to-day operational activities. That's what this function takes care of, and that are needed to manage the IT infrastructure. So these are the some routine tasks that you have to do: console management, job scheduling, backup and restore. So these kind of tasks are put under subfunction called IT operations control, because we are controlling the operations here using day-to-day activities. And IT operations control function is the main controller of event management process. So tasks like component monitoring, job scheduling, backup and restore, routing maintenance are done within this sub function. IT operations control facilities, centralized monitoring and control activities typically by the use of an operations bridge or network operation center. It's called NOC, Network Operation Center, NOC. So the second sub function that we have in ITOM is facilities management. That was the one who takes care of facility management is called as a facilities manager. Okay, now anyway, we'll delve into this. So this sub-function carries out the management of the physical environment. For example, data centers, computer rooms, cooling, power supply. That's what I was telling. A facilities manager will make sure of all arrangements are done for the operations. So uh, the physical environment, what is that? Data center is the place where you will have all the servers together. It could be a proxy server, or it could be a hosted server. It could be anything. So there you will find these servers, and in addition to that, computer rooms, cooling, power supply, everything. And in some larger organization where many of these works are outsourced to the third parties, of course there are facilities management also. That's the maintenance of those third parties contract. So this is how your facility management sub-functions works, and let's see what they do. For example, if you take an application management team, they will take care of whatever applications are that are running from that company. For example, financial apps, HR apps, business apps. These are the some normal general apps that are run for the company. Any company you can take. Financial apps you'll have, and then HR apps. So this application management they will do. This is the most important activity of IT operations management. So it's you can easily connect with this. Every company will have this IT operations management, and they will take care of your application management. And in addition to that, if you look into the technical management, then you will have a mainframe is it is a big server. It's a very big server. Mm, a server is a server. When you say server, it can be a virtual machine also, but whereas a mainframe means it's a very big server with a huge amount of data storage and huge amount of RAM. That's called a mainframe server, and a lot of activities can be done with that. And network storage, databases, directory, desktop, middleware, internet or web. So literally all in all IT operations are taken care by this IT operation management. This is ITOM. So by and large, whatever IT operations that you do, irrespective of whether it is a IT company or any other company such as automobile company, there will be the tasks which are related to the IT operations. All are handled by the ITOM framework, ITOM function of the ITIL, and that's what. But this gives a stability to your system. So that is the reason it is very successful in the market. Then basically to communicate external people with the ITOM or ITIL people, we will have a service desk. Everybody might have if you are working in a corporate company, whenever you get a problem with your laptop, obviously you take your laptop and go to the IT service desk. So those people will handle the issues. Now this service desk will have, then if there is any issue, we will have an application, or we will have a portal where we can raise a request and request for the repair. So that's what called incident management. So this is how our overall IT operation management sub function works. I think you can easily connect with this because every company has this one. You will have a service desk, you will have an incident management portal, and inside, once it goes to the IT operations management team, they will handle the following tasks that I have mentioned inside in the screen, that is technical management and then application management. Then let's see the comparison between the waterfall method and agile method. Anyway, for the development, because for operation we do not have much option, we will go with the ITIL. Whereas for the development, we have to decide whether you want to go with waterfall or agile. Okay, so let's take four most important parameters, and based on the parameters, we will weight the pro and cons of the both the methods, and we'll decide which method to be uh, go with our project. So the first parameter that I've considered is time. If you take time, in waterfall it takes more time, whereas in agile it's lesser time because of the sprints that we are going to use, and because of continuous collaboration, and uh, because of the application development is also sprint wise, and it also we develop based on features. If there is any bug, we can easily solve it in agile, whereas in waterfall it's very difficult because we are pushing whole application and then we have to rectify it. So as per the time parameter, agile got advantage. As per the cost parameter, of course, waterfall is little cheaper than compared to agile. So in this, waterfall is gaining, waterfall method is winning. And in risk parameter, agile is absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely risk free because of that bug fixing for every small module. Whenever you push a module, you can fix the bug. So that's the reason risk parameter agile wins. In a risk parameter, agile wins. And finally, quality parameter also, by and large, we can go with agile, but there is no hard and fast rule that only agile will give you fantastic quality and then others won't give. Waterfall won't give, but quality we cannot say. It all depends upon but somehow there is a bit of edge towards agile methodology. So now it is all up to our client to decide. I have given you the complete explanation of how our IT team works, and what all the roles in it, and what all methodologies we use it, and the comparison between the agile, Kanban, and then ITL operations team. Everything I have explained. The ball is in your court. It is all up to you to uh, decide which method you want to go with for our project.